Welcome back, my mutant children. Streebo here with you from MVP. Home base, mutantville.com. Vehicle, the Mutantville mothership. But you know that already. Figured I was overdue for a vlog, being that my last video wasn't even really a vlog. I posted the Todd Hates MVP song from the MVP Mutant radio show. So hope you guys enjoyed that. And I posted that for the benefit of all you people out there, especially our fellow filmmakers in Charlotte that have been introduced to Todd and his ways through MVP. We're not responsible for anything he does, but if you listen to that song, you'll understand that the things that you have to deal with Todd, we have to put up with the same things. So Todd, you know we love you, but Todd does indeed hate everything. Just finished my workout for today, so I figured what better thing to do than chase it down with a good Blue Moon Rounder Belgian style pale ale. Check that out. That's right. Streebo, the man of many worlds. Get a good workout in, turn right around, ruin it all by drinking a beer. I'm at the age where I've given up trying to feel guilty about any of my vices. I am what I am. You know, we have to do what we have to do sometimes, and I'm part I don't know, artist shaman or whatever, so sometimes I like to drink. It is what it is. I figured I'd just talk about what all's going on. Some of you, if you follow the vlogs or the website, the MVP blog over at mutantville.com, or the radio show at MVP Mutant Radio, you'll know that we've been talking about the upcoming Fright Night Film Fest, Fandom Fest, which is always a big event for us. We usually try to have something to show there, but this year we don't have anything to show. You know, last year we played Scarecrow at midnight, and this year we don't have anything to enter. You know, I implored Brento to enter Take That at least, but he never did, and he didn't. It shouldn't surprise me because he didn't enter Indigo Child last year. So I don't know, whatever. You know, never light a lantern and hide it under a bushel, but I'm not going to let it slow me down. Now, if you look at the title, I put a lot of the movie names of what I'm talking about. Pacific Rim, VHS 2, THX 1138, because in a lot of ways, you know, this is what's going on. Like literally tomorrow night at the Back Alley Film Series in Charlotte at the Charlotte Crown Point Theater, they are going to play VHS 2 on the big screen. I love seeing movies on the big screen. I really dig the Back Alley Film Series crowd. They're a lot of fun. And Friday night over at the Carolina Theater in Durham, they're going to have a double feature of Brazil and THX 1138. I really would like to get out and catch both of these screenings. Probably not going to make VHS 2. I've got some work stuff that I'm going to have to do late tomorrow, and I think it's going to be just enough that it's going to keep me at work late, just late enough that I'm not going to be able to make the trip. Because when I go to see these movies, I mean, I don't live next door to the theater. I usually have to drive an hour or an hour and a half, or in the case of going to Durham, it's almost a 2-hour drive. And since the economy went in the toilet, you know, the price of gas has doubled and tripled, and it just, you know, it's prevented me from being able to go and enjoy as many of these awesome retro screenings that we have around here. But, you know, I still want to tell you people about it. If you're in Charlotte or if you're in Durham, check those things out. I definitely highly recommend Back Alley Film Series and anything Retrofantasma plays. I love both crowds. I love both, you know, groups. You know, I've got friends at both of them. Probably got some haters at both, but that's just the way life is, you know. When you're MVP, baby, everybody's trying to bring you down, which is funny. You know, I have so many strange exchanges with people online, and you know, what people don't understand is that you have to promote yourself, which is why these vlogs exist, which is why the radio show exists. And part of that means putting your opinion out there. It means coming up with some kind of content. And it means making yourself vulnerable in some way. But the minute I've noticed that the minute that you try to put yourself over as any kind of authority, people are just offended by it. They're also offended if you enjoy a movie. I mean, I'm so on the fence about the fan community. I really am. Because there are things I love about it, and there are things I definitely hate about it. Because to me, fans should be fans. That's it. Let's talk about what you love. If you didn't like a movie, you know, cool. Go write your review or whatever, but you don't have to come make a point to me about how much you hated it. We just don't need to have that interaction. I'm trying to talk to people that enjoyed it like I did. You know, you don't hear me obsessing about the Resident Evil series. I hate all those movies. You know, but I don't go to the IMDb and troll the Resident Evil boards and tell everybody there that they're idiots for liking it. You know, I understand as an artist, as a creative individual, that different works speak to different people. People just have different tastes. Some people are going to like some things. Other people are not going to like those things. And not everybody's going to like the same thing. And unfortunately, here in America, it's predominantly bad taste. People have no taste whatsoever. Which explains why Pacific Rim came in third at the box office, I guess. Originally, I thought it was going to be second at the box office because I was looking at the Box Office Mojo results, but it was only second on Friday night, and it dropped to third on Saturday and Sunday, and third overall for the weekend. And Despicable Me 2 still took the top spot. But they were all really close together. You know, it was like 16 million, 14 million, and, you know, 12 million or whatever on the individual days. So it wasn't like a drastic difference in the box office. But, you know, Pacific Rim needed to be #1 at the box office. It deserved to be #1. I mean, when we get an original work like that, and it just amazes me how just people get offended that you like a movie. I have no problem with anybody that disagrees with me. But, you know, I seem to find myself getting in arguments all the time. But I generally just give back whatever energy I get. It's like if I'm walking down the street and I hit somebody in the jaw, I only hit them because they came up and took a swing at me. I was just walking down the street, and they walked up and they took a swing at me. Well, if you take a swing at me, I can either turn and run away, or I could bob and weave, and I'm going to hit you first in your solar plexus, then I'm going to left hook you in the liver, then I'm going to come up with an uppercut, and then when you fall forward, I'm going to lock in a guillotine. I'm going to choke you so hard that you're going to crap your pants. And I do that online too. So, don't come after me. You won't have a problem with me. You know, I don't like to argue with people. I find myself having to do it time and time and time again, and people think that I have a big ego or a overblown opinion or whatever. I don't. I'm really a humble person. People don't believe that, but because, again, here we are, because I'm in a situation where I have to promote myself. You know, other people are not going to promote you. There are people that are dedicated podcasters, dedicated bloggers. That's all they do are review movies and talk about movies, and they will not lift a finger to help an independent filmmaker such as myself. Hence, MVP Mutant Radio. Hence, the Mutantville Players YouTube account. These things exist because I spent from 2003 to 2007 trying to get people to just help us promote. Invite us on for an interview to talk about the work. Invite us on to just round table about a movie or a trend. Anything. just to help us promote. And they wouldn't do it. Does that mean you get mad at them? Why won't you promote us? They don't owe me anything. I'm not paying any of those guys' bills. They don't have to promote me. So I do. Am I going to cry in my beer? No. No, 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 son. You're MVP. You get up. Do what you have to do. You don't want us on your show? Fine. Fine. Make our own videos. You don't want to invite us on your podcast to discuss something? Fine. We'll make our own podcast. Hence MVP Mutant Radio. Which I have to say I'm really proud of at this point. Really proud of. You know, I got an interesting comment. Somebody just chastising me because I liked Pacific Rim, because we talked about it on MVP Mutant Radio. I'm not going to read verbatim what they said here, because I will address it on the next show. It's going to be part of the MVP Mind mailbag. But they were just chastising me for talking about Pacific Rim instead of talking about other independent works. Now let me explain to you how this works, individual, if you're watching this. I understand exactly where you're coming from, mind you. And I've actually kind of done the same thing myself. But when I've approached people, I've tried not to chastise them, but I have said, but it's usually not because they liked something, mind you, but because they hated something, and they continue to hate, and they just complain about this just wide variety of movies they watch, and they're like, oh, I hate this and that and that. And so my point was, well, listen, if you hate all this stuff, and you think everything coming out of Hollywood is unoriginal, then why are you not giving any lip service to any of these independent works that are trying to be original, that are trying to create something new? Seems like a no-brainer to me. What is it? The definition of stupidity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. You know, that's pretty much why I give up on a lot of podcasts. That's why I give up on a lot of bloggers. Because I just don't respect their opinions. You know, they're not filmmakers, they're not artists. At best, what they are bloggers, or at best what they are, you know, kind of radio host personalities. But then if they're not down for the cause of truly trying to bring to light original works, then, you know, I've got no time for you. And especially if you're just going to like continue, if we have just a clash of taste and you're just going to endlessly bash stuff that I like, because with you not being a creative individual, I automatically, anything you say, I knock it down a lot, because I generally just don't think you know what the hell you, I started to curse there. Sorry, Mom. I don't think you know what you're talking about. Mom should like this shirt too, by the way. Graphic sexual horror, which I picked up at the Fright Night Film Fest in 2010 when we got to see that documentary and interview the director. What was her name? Barbara something. That interview's right here on YouTube. You can go check it out over there somewhere. It's actually one of our most watched reviews. Alright, Monster, you quit messing around. You said you were going to come in here. Here's my co-host for today, Mr. Logan. Say hey to everybody. Hello. He's trying to get out the door now, and he demanded to come in when I started this. So, you know, I'm on the fence about the fan community. I do not understand people's predilection to endlessly complain. You're supposed to be a fan, people. A fan, not a hater. Why are you whining to everybody? Why are you aggressively hating on these works? You know, I don't understand it. Will you stop? You know, at MVP Mutant Radio, we started out trying to interview as many independent people as I could. And I was told not to talk about this publicly, but, you know, it was suggested to me that we were showing too much favoritism, which I'm like, you know, again, here you go. You can't do anything. You cannot do anything. It's not enough that I kill myself trying to make something original. I mean, I've killed my relationships. That's why I don't have a steady girlfriend right now. That's why I don't even want one anymore. Because it just falls apart. It falls apart. Because women, at least in my experience, they're unable to accept not being on the top pedestal. They're unable to accept the fact that I have to be dedicated to something, which is my art form, which is storytelling, and it has to take precedence over them, you know. And it comes in so many stages when you do everything, whether it's script writing, whether it's the actual filming, whether it's post-production with editing. You know, that was my last heavy relationship. You know, I had some after that. You stop. I had some after that, but, you know, my last really serious one, it just fell apart during, you know, post-production. So I had to spend months and months editing. You know, that's the life I lead. But I'm okay. I'm cool with it. I've accepted my lot in life because I accepted my gift long ago. You know, as a kid, I was just always creating, always coming up with something. And yeah, that's what we do at MVP. These images you see behind me are all original characters. They're from our stories. They're all brand new. You know, we've tried to come up with something new and put it out there. We've kind of shifted the tone a little bit in the past year more towards, instead of just exclusively talking about and making horror, we're kind of trying to move a little bit more towards more like speculative fiction and get a little bit more action in there. Just because personally I'm just bored with horror. I really am. I feel like I've seen it all and done it all. And I'm just starting to think that not only is the genre limited, but I think you're trying to preach to a deaf choir. It's like people that claim to be interested in the same things, but at the same time they don't want to hear it. If you're not making, all right, dude, you win. You go out now. Don't try to come back in. He's sitting here pulling the door open. I gotta let him out. If you're not trying to make Friday the 13th, part 17, people don't care. They do not care. It's so funny to me. So funny. Does this mean I'm enlightened, looking down on y'all? No, I just have a clear understanding. Clear understanding of the battlefield. A good general understands the battlefield. Sun Tzu. Try reading it, people. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this Fandom Fest thing. Before the Pacific Rim episode, we did another Fandom Fest countdown episode, the Stan Lee Fandom Fest pre-show. You know, I'm really looking forward to meeting Stan Lee this year. Every time I go to one of these conventions, I build my experience around the main guest I want to meet. Now, they always say, don't go to a convention just to meet one person. So if Stan cancels at the last minute, I'll probably be very heartbroken because I have not only a VIP pass, but I have a ticket to a meet and greet. And I plan on asking him questions. You know, and to me, this is an interesting evolution of my continuing art education, because I've been going to conventions literally since I left school. Every year I've gone to a convention. In North Carolina and Charlotte, we've had the Heroes Con every year for like 30-something years now. And I would always go. And that was really the beginning of my convention experience. And then we eventually branched out into, you know, the horror cons and whatnot. But I would always go to the Q&A sessions and talk to my favorite creators. I would go to their panels and talk to them. I would talk to them at their tables. And, you know, it's no different than being at a college and you have a guest speaker come in, give a lecture, you ask them questions, you learn. And I do it every time, you know. I learned so much from my encounters with people like Roger Corman You know, in 2010, we spent that whole weekend talking to Roger Corman. You know, John Carpenter. The list goes on and on. George Romero. If you want to get into comic books, Neil Gaiman. If you want to get into literature, Harlan Ellison. You know, there have been a lot of people that have been so fortunate to talk to and try to learn from. Warren Ellis. And, you know, Stanley's next on the list. And I'm really looking forward to it. Really looking forward to it. By the way, if you're going to be at the Fandom Fest, if you see me, if you see us at our table, just shout out MVP. If you got the time, come by and say, hey, what's up, Streebo? So I know nobody's going to stop at the table. Everybody's going to be in line to see The Walking Dead. That's kind of the harsh reality of these things, but it's cool. I'm there. If only one person a day comes up to the table to talk to me, I will talk to you. Now, I'm probably going to try to sell you one of our DVDs, which we'll have for sale on the table. We're going to do our convention special where normally the DVDs, if you get them off of Amazon, they're $15 plus shipping. But at the con, if you want to get two, we'll sell them for $10 a piece, and you can get both Tales from Mutantville and Ghost for $20. You know, I'm trying, for my fellow filmmakers out there, or even, you know, bloggers, even though I just bashed off half of you, I'm trying to put together my social media marketing seminar. We've got it on video, where I gave it a few months ago. We had the actual seminar, and I've been having some problems with getting that footage onto my computer. So I'm still at the last minute here at the 11th hour. I'm going to try to put that together and have it on DVD in some kind of form. So if you want to buy a copy of that, you'll be able to do that too. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like Muticia is going to, well, one, she won't be at the con with us, and two, it doesn't look like we're going to be able to put that on DVD just yet. We're having problems getting a good public domain copy of Night of the Living Dead to put on the DVD, because they're all just really crummy. You know, there's an audio sync problem with the current version we had. Which again is pretty depressing, you know, because you work so hard to put these things together, and then you kind of hit a bump in the road that becomes a roadblock that you really have little to no control over. You know, we really haven't been able to push the first episode of Muticia's movie Morgue the way we would like to, because you know, the audio on the episode is out of sync, you know, on part of the Night of the Living Dead stuff, and I mean, it's ridiculous. So, you know, why would I want to try to push that to 1 million people just so they can all come and tell me, you know, what's up with this copy of Night of the Living Dead? It's out of sync. I know that. That's why I'm not pushing it. It can be depressing, but what can you do? Still not talking about Blue Harvest 2. I think I'm going to change the title to Blue Harvest 23, because I think the Family Guy idiots have been ripping off the Blue Harvest thing. I hate that show, but that's all you hear me say about it, because I'm a fan. I want to talk about things I enjoy, like Pacific Rim, which was awesome. Which, if you haven't seen it, you know, check out the latest episode of MVP Mutant Radio, where we give you a spoiler-free review. And if you have seen it, check out the spoiler-filled review that follows the spoiler-free portion of the show. You can download those directly from iTunes if you just search for MVP Mutant Radio, or if you want to go to the actual website for those, it's a Libsyn site under mvpmutantradio.libsyn.com. So, yeah, you know, I'm happy with how that's turned out. You know, over the past few months, we've covered Man of Steel. We did both a review show for that and a Superman pre-show leading into it, which was very interesting, because we talked about Superman and some of our favorite Superman stories from over the years, and we actually hit upon a couple that had parallels in Man of Steel, so that was interesting. We also reviewed Star Trek Into Darkness, and that was also part of our Fandom Fest countdown. Where we talked a little bit about Star Trek the Original Series, though I was shocked and dismayed that my MVP cohorts were not bigger Star Trek the Original Series fans than they really were, because, you know, in my childhood, Star Trek the Original Series and Doctor Who were pretty much the staples of my science fiction diet, on television at least. In movies, there's a lot of stuff out there or whatever, but on TV, if I wanted to see sci-fi, Star Trek was pretty much what I had to find. And that would come on in the evenings or whatever, and then Doctor Who had its spot on Saturdays. We also talked about Iron Man 3, which I pretty much hate. I hate that movie. I really do. I'm a comic book fan. I don't like what they did with it. I'll just leave it at that. We talked about it on MVP Mutant Radio. We also reviewed Oblivion, which I really loved, which is actually, until Pacific Rim, was probably my favorite movie of the summer. That episode, we also did a summer movie preview, and we talked about all these upcoming films. We're over halfway into the season now. If you haven't heard that show, you can still go and check it out. I mean, we still talk about things that haven't come out yet, like The Conjuring and R.I.P.D. and The Wolverine, and Elysium and Kick-Ass 2 and all that kind of stuff. You're Next, whatever. Before that, we reviewed Antiviral. We got to see that on the big screen, 35mm, by Brandon Cronenberg. I thought it was phenomenal. I thought it was this year's Beyond the Black Rainbow. I love seeing just great little indie films like that just take off. We also did a fun episode where Todd A. Britt, our special effects guy, who Todd hates everything, where we discussed the history of makeup effects, and that actually led us up to a discussion on Guillermo del Toro, which is cool, which is very cool. I highly recommend that episode as well if you're into that kind of stuff. And you go all the way back to the beginning of MVP Mutant Radio. We interviewed a ton of independent filmmakers, and the thing is that the reason I stopped was twofold, because once I started trying to bring in people outside of the MVP circle, it just makes scheduling the recording of the show difficult, because the way we do it now, it's fly by night. That's the only way I can do all this. You guys have to understand. MVP is Streebo, Geo, and Brento. The three of us do everything. Everything. We've got the blog where we put up, if not daily content, at least, fresh weekly content. We've got the podcast, the radio show. We've got this video show. We've got the Facebook. We've got the Twitter. We've got the Pinterest. All these things that we use to kind of try to promote. But we're creators. We are creative individuals. For 9 months I've been working on the script for Blue Harvest 23. 9 months, people. That's how serious I am. Because your script has to be rock solid. It has to be your blueprint, because once you pull the trigger, once you say go on one of these things, there's no stopping it. There's no stopping it, because you start putting costumes together, you start talking to actors, you start having the effects guy, in this case Todd A. Britt, start building things, and you can't go back and rewrite it all out. So the script has to be rock solid, and I'm doing that. And I think this pilgrimage to Fandom Fest, which is probably going to be our last major convention for the year, unless I'm able to make it to the Mad Monster Mardi Gras, which looks awesome. The Mad Monster Party guys are putting on one of the best shows around. They came out of nowhere and came to Charlotte, and they just started putting on a quality show. I would invite you to go check out our Mad Monster Party wrap-up show if you haven't heard it. I am most likely going to interview any independent filmmakers that approach me for an interview at Fandom Fest. So if you see this, come tell me you want to interview to promote your movie, and I will either shoot a video for you, or I'll make it part of the radio show that I record at the convention. So that's what I can do to pay you back. This week I put up a post on the MVP blog that said, independent filmmakers, send your media releases to us, meaning if you have all that stuff typed out and you've got the pictures and whatnot, Send it to me. I'll put it on the blog. We'll link it back to you. We'll get you your backlinks. And I tell you what, at MVP, we figured out how to get good SEO results. I mean, some of the things we post about get top ranking on Google search results. So, to the gentleman that chastised me, what you have to understand, sir, is nobody's promoting me. I have zero responsibility to promote any of you. Zero responsibility. Okay? I'm killing myself to not only make the product, but to promote, put it out there. And along the way, I've tried to help people. I've tried and tried and tried. But filmmakers are lazy, fans are lazy, and reviewers are biased. Yeah. Leave it to Streebo to go to war with the world, baby. I don't care. I don't care. Take a swing at me. You'll get what you get. If you knock me down, you knock me down. I will get back up. You know, last year I put out this, we did the Carolina Challenge where I invited North Carolina filmmakers to send us their 15-minute short films, whether it's horror, science fiction, or fantasy. And the top 4 we were going to play in front of theatrical films at the Back Alley Film Series at Charlotte Crown Point Theater. The movies that played wound up being, there was a couple retro ones and a couple new ones. VHS was one, a little bit zombie was one, and then the retro films were Hausu, the Japanese film Hausu, and Anguish. I got exactly 0 submissions of appropriate films. The people that contacted us had 30-minute films, 40-minute films. Listen, people, why are you making 30-minute films? That's not a short film. It's nothing. It's nothing. It's too long for a short film. If you're trying to make it as a web series or TV show or whatever, then that's fine. But we had to have, it was a 15-minute time limit because they were playing in front of a full-length feature in a theater, and you can't play these 30-minute short films. What are those? Why are you people making those? If you're going to go 30 minutes, then go for 90 minutes. Make a full-length feature. Make something original and put it out there, okay? You know, I had people, they were wanting us to play these 30 and 40-minute films, and it's like, do you not comprehend? So again, we go back to what does Streebo say? Filmmakers are lazy. You're lazy. I'm sorry. Sorry, you are lazy. So I have noticed that a lot of Charlotte filmmakers are not completely lazy because they like taking my ideas. I've noticed that. I can pull up synopses for new little films that I've seen come up that perfectly mirror my synopses. I can show you pictures and shows that perfectly copy some of the ideas I've created, and the timeline being that mine came first. And those people were well aware of what I did, what we created at MVP. But say hobby, it's cool. It's cool. I don't mind. I don't mind. But that brings us to Blue Harvest 23. That's why I have to keep it under wraps. I'm not giving you guys any more of my ideas. If you want to rip this one off, you're going to have to wait until it's completely done, because I'm not going to tell you anything about it until it's done. Until it's done. Until it's ready to screen. That's when you'll find out about it. And then you'll have to steal my ideas. But, you know, I love it. I love it. I just try different things with these vlogs, with everything. You know, I tried to be a little bit more inflammatory on a few of the vlogs, just as an experiment to see, will these get more hits? You know, will this help in the advertising? Ultimately, I don't think it did. And I have noticed a trend that our traffic dropped a little bit since the format switched to expand to include speculative fiction. And, you know, we have to kind of go out and rebrand ourselves in some new circles, because I think all the diehard horror fans are just not interested in it, which is cool. I can understand that. You know, we still love horror, but, you know, speculative fiction right now to me is so much more exciting, and it's something I'm excited about coming up with some cool ideas for, and just challenging myself as a filmmaker and as a storyteller. You know, we spent 10 years doing the Die Hard horror thing. So, you know, I'm looking forward to 10 years doing the Die Hard speculative fiction. So if at the end of this next 10 years, if we hit 2023, okay, and Blue Harvest 23 is as good as it gets, and nothing happens from it, then I'm probably going to be done. I'm going to be done. I'm just going to have to resign myself and say, you know what, buddy, it doesn't matter what ideas you had. Doesn't matter how hard you tried. At least you tried. At least you got up to bat and you took a swing and, you know, you struck out every time. But I will not be one of those people that goes to my grave and says, I wish I'd have done that. I wish I'd have tried this. I wish I'd have tried to make that movie instead of saying, no, it's over my head. And that's not me. That is not me. That's why I work 40 hours a week. In the past 3 months, since the Mad Monster Party, literally, I've worked 50, 60-hour weeks on my day job, which has nothing to do with filmmaking, nothing to do with the creative process. Then I come home, and you know, all the MVP stuff is waiting for me. I'm in the middle of critiquing Brento's script right now for Red Woman. You know, he's been patiently waiting on that. You know, I've been in third shift coma these past 3 months where I'm just working third shift, 60 hours a week. Go to work, come home, sleep, wake up just in time to go back to work. You know, so sorry about that, B, but I am working on it, so we'll talk about it soon. But at the top of my list right now is Blue Harvest 23. I'm really excited about it. I'm excited. I feel like I've put some original ideas into it, and I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm excited to expand in speculative fiction. I'm excited that we are welcomed at Fandom Fest and Fright Night Film Fest, because I think Ken Daniels at Fright Night, he's had the foresight to understand that you cannot just focus on one niche, like such as with the Fright Night Film Fest, which is why he brought in the Fandom Fest. You know, I've been saying for years, my friends, my real friends will attest to it, that I've been saying for years that we needed to try to find a way to kind of combine all these different genres and bring all these fans together, because if you've noticed these anime conventions, you know, they're huge. They're getting huge guests. You know, you've got these kids dressing up as the characters from all the anime and the manga, and you know, and I was watching anime and reading manga way before it was cool, you know, back in the Robotech and Gundam days, and you know, Akira and Vampire Hunter D and that kind of stuff. And you know, and I love the modern stuff. That's what keeps me young at heart. You know, I love still discovering awesome new stuff like Baki the Grappler, you know, or Fooly Cooly, or you know, the list just goes on and on and on. And that's what I really dig about it, about just being a fan. I love watching new stuff, which is why I loved watching Pacific Rim. I love talking about it. I love talking to my fellow fans about it. And as a creative individual, I am not threatened by it. You know, if you listen to our show, I talk about it. You know, I had this arc, this wide swing of emotion where I went from being utterly depressed watching that movie, realizing I would never get a chance to make something on that scale, to being totally energized and excited by the end of it because of the amount of pure, unbridled imagination thrown at the screen. And it just reminded me, and I said, Streebo, man, you've just got to do the best you can and not limit yourself in any way. It doesn't matter if you've only got a $50 budget. Just go for it, man. Just go for it. Because great things come from small beginnings. To quote the best movie the past year, suck it, haters. But so there you go. Keep doing your thing, people. Send me your media releases. If you want me to review your movies, I'm probably not going to be able to do it. I'm not a reviewer. Try to find one of the bloggers to do it. I just can't do it. I can't do it. I'm a creator. Right now, I'm buried in this script, so it's so hard for me to break away and, you know, write review kind of stuff, which is why I've been doing more and more vlogs and the radio show, to just kind of freeform discuss these things without you know, really having to structure a proper review and whatnot. I'm not a journalist. I am a creative individual, and that's what I'm here to do. And I'm not in any way, shape, or form, you know, frightened because of Pacific Rim. And if you are, then you need to get out. Quit now. Do what I was thinking of doing. Just go home, get an axe, chop your camera into little pieces, chop up your PC, and quit. Quit. Because we need to thin the herd. We need to thin the herd. If you're not diehard, if you're not dedicated to the cause, then get out. GTFO. Get out. It's not for you. It's not for you. If you're not willing to ruin your relationships, miss time with your friends and family, so you can work on a script, so you can do that editing, so that you can help bring something new into the world, then you're not down for the cause. You know, if the best idea you have is how you can expand upon George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead, then you need to quit. You need to quit. I'm about at the point where I'm ready to just, I think everybody working on one of those remakes needs to be hung and shot, but let's not witch hunt. Y'all do your thing. I'll try not to pay attention to you. But I am down for the cause. I am here to make something original. Sometime, somehow, some way, somewhere, something original is going to come from MVP, and people are going to respond to it. And it's going to be an overnight sensation, and people are going to be like, wow, you know, you're so lucky. And it's going to be, no, we're not lucky. There was 20, 30 years of struggling in anonymity, you know, before anything came of it. So, but, or if nothing comes of it, then so be it. I tried. I did my best. Did my best. That's all anyone can ask. So, I think I'm going to wrap this up, guys. Again, if you enjoyed any of these, you know, this mano a mano discussion, you know, check me out at the MVP blog at www.mutantville.com. You know, listen to our radio show at MVP Mutant Radio. And if you're going to be at Fandom Fest, I hope to see you there. So, until next time, guys. Peace.